Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wicked Reading. Today I will be reading SCP-1563, Property Markers, Object Class, Euclid. SCP-1563 is a predatory organism resembling plastic property boundary markers, commonly used in rural areas. Specimens of SCP-1563 usually exhibit pink coloration, with orange and blue coloration being recently discovered, though more types of coloration are thought to exist. SCP-1563 has very durable and sharp tooth-like structures, measuring 1.5 millimeters, covering the ventral side of its body. These teeth are used to puncture the skin of its prey. SCP-1563 exhibits behavior of ambush predators, attaching itself to trees or other standing wooden structures. When a prey animal passes by, SCP-1563 will detach and leap onto its target, then wrap around its prey's neck and strangle it to death before puncturing its neck using sharp teeth and feeding on its blood. SCP-1563's preferred prey appears to be white-tailed deer, and as such poses minimal threat to humans unless provoked or malnourished. SCP-1563 is able to survive for at most 2 weeks without nourishment. SCP-1563 has 2 organs: a small capillary system which is presumably used to process and distribute the consumed blood throughout the body, and the aforementioned teeth, which are structured so that when blood is introduced onto the surface of the teeth, the blood will diffuse into a set of capillaries, located immediately under the first layer of the teeth. SCP-1563's mean of locomotion is unknown, as no muscle tissues have been discovered. By extension, the means by which SCP-1563 circulates blood is also unknown, if circulation occurs at all. SCP-1563 has an extremely durable cell structure composed of what appears to be a double cell wall. This double cell wall is literally 2 cell walls, one inner cell wall and one outer cell wall, both in addition to the cell membrane, which forms a tight bond with adjacent cells. It is hypothesized that this double cell wall is used to help SCP-1563 stay together when attacking prey, so that they are not easily torn. SCP-1563 reproduces asexually. The specimen will split itself in 2 and hunt smaller prey such as rabbits until it grows to a sufficient size. At that point, it will resume hunting white-tailed deer. SCP-1563 will occasionally secrete a yellowish-brown substance, presumably waste. The excretions halt approximately 1 to 2 hours after they begin. It should be noted that on touch, there is no discernible difference between SCP-1563 and a plastic property marker. SCP-1563 came to the Foundation's attention following multiple reports of deer strangled using property markers in Virginia. Undercover Foundation agents investigating the incidents were able to identify the anomalous entity responsible, and a containment team was able to secure several specimens and transport them to temporary storage site. Access File Server 1563 Test log 7_0.log Test log 1563-7.0 Test purpose: to discern whether or not a non-malnourished SCP-1563 specimen has other food preferences. If so, these preferences are thought to be associated with fauna residing in Western North America. This is the last of such tests, as each prior test has resulted in no response from SCP-1563. Involved personnel: D-4213. Organisms involved: multiple specimens of SCP-1563, 1 American black bear. During this instance of testing, the following events occurred. Upon introducing the bear to the testing environment, the bear became enraged and began to attack D-4213, who was the personnel introducing the bear to the environment. 12 instances of SCP-1563 leaped onto the bear and began collaboratively feeding off of it, with 2 instances having wrapped around the neck, 2 around the right front leg, 3 around the left front leg, 3 around the right back leg, and 2 around the left back leg. The bear entered hypovolemia and died 5 minutes after initial attachment. The 12 instances involved attacked the bear unusually quickly, considering that they had been previously fed their usual diet. All 12 instances were observed to be more dormant over the next month, not requiring any nourishment and exceeding the usual lifespan of an unfed instance of SCP-1563. After this, each specimen returned to normal activity. This was an unusually fast attack for specimens of 1563. This is a long shot, but the feeling I get is that they were preventing further harm from coming to D-4213. Worth noting is that D-4213 was selected from a group of convicted criminals having committed a victimless crime as determined by the Ethics Committee. In the future, I would recommend testing how SCP-1563 reacts in the same situation, but with a D-class selected from a pool of criminals who have done worse. From my past research with other skips, I would suspect that specimens of SCP-1563 have some kind of moral complex. Whether they know about the specifics of a wrongdoing committed, they may be able to sense the moral character of a sentient organism. Researcher Hubei. Access File Server 1563. Test log 7_1.log. Test log 1563-7.1. Test purpose. Here, we will try to further determine whether SCP-1563 displays a protective attitude towards humans, as suggested by researcher Hubei. Involved personnel D-02231. Involved organisms, multiple specimens of SCP-1563, 1 Bengal tiger. D-02231 entered the testing environment as well as 6 SCP-1563 specimens. 5 minutes later, a Bengal tiger was introduced to the testing environment. Prior to testing, the tiger was not giving any nourishment for 2 days, and then was agitated immediately preceding this test using various methods. Once the tiger was introduced to the testing environment, it immediately assumed a stalking posture. At this time, SCP-1563 specimens were attached to the trees in their vivarium. The SCP-1563 specimens then began to detach themselves from the trees. The tiger pounced onto D-02231, causing a massive laceration in his left arm. The SCP-1563 specimens then dove off of the trees and began to attack and feed on the tiger. The tiger then died approximately 4 minutes later due to hypovolemia, similar to the bear in the previous test. We know that the Bengal tiger is not native to the area in which we initially found SCP-1563, and to date we have not found any SCP-1563 specimen in southern Asia. This is further evidence that SCP-1563 may be protective over humans, as the Bengal tiger should not, hypothetically, be in the diet of SCP-1563. D-02231 was selected from a similar pool of convicted criminals as D-4213. I still recommend testing this with other D-class of lower moral standing. Researcher Hubei. Access File Server 1563. Addenda. Addendum_1.txt. Addendum 1563-1. During a lab test to further study SCP-1563's anatomy, researcher noticed microscopic text on the dorsal side of an SCP-1563 specimen's body, which displayed the words "pink, protect." Testing is underway to view both the dorsal and ventral sides of each SCP-1563 specimen currently contained. This text implies that there are SCP-1563 specimens that exhibit a different color. A retrieval mission is underway to obtain new colors of SCP-1563. This seems to confirm my suspicions, but the inclusion of pink on this label implies that there are other colors of SCP-1563, perhaps with other properties. To date, we have only discovered pink specimens. I am immediately requesting further examination of SCP-1563's initial recovery site, and then we will determine where to go from there. Researcher Hubei. Access File Server 1563 Addenda Addendum _2.txt Addendum 1563-2. A group of 7 SCP-1563 specimens with orange coloration were recovered near area. Upon immediate examination, each displayed text on the ventral side of the body stating "Orange, Restrict." All specimens were actively hostile towards personnel not assigned to area. This resulted in severe injuries to researcher. It is currently unknown why these specimens were discovered in such close proximity to a high-priority Foundation base. It has been months since we've had any new developments with this SCP, but here it is. I conjecture that this also confirms my previous suspicions that SCP-1563 can anonymously sense things it should not otherwise have any way of knowing. For instance, how would the orange specimens have known what personnel are assigned to area and what personnel aren't? They don't even have a nervous system in which to store such information. Researcher Hubei. In the months following the discovery of orange-colored SCP-1563 specimens, a group of 4 blue specimens were recovered near California, an area known to be particularly dry. Text was discovered on the dorsal side displaying "Blue, Drench." During examination, no extraordinary features were discovered aside from the color and text. 4 days after examination of the specimen, a small non-destructive fire occurred on site. Approximately 5.4 seconds later, the area containing the fire was instantly extinguished, and a large amount of water was subsequently found around the area of the fire. No personnel were in this part of the site at the time to extinguish the fire. It is now assumed that specimens of blue coloration serve the purpose of preventing fires, or to assist in situations with a high lack of moisture. Further testing is planned. It should be noted that both of these specimens have the same anatomy of the pink specimen, aside from the color and the effects accompanied by them. Access File Server 1563 Addenda Addendum _3 HTML. Upon further examination of the specimens later recovered from the cave near each specimen of SCP-1563 had different microscopic text written on the dorsal side. These are the findings. Read in order of specimen color and associated text. Pink, pink, protect. Red, red, purge. Black, black, control. Orange, orange, restrict. Blue, blue, drench. Purple, purple, ignite. Green, green, heal. Special Containment Procedures. Specimens of SCP-1563 are contained in a sealed vivarium at Biocontainment Site 84, built to emulate a temperate forest environment, and 10 white-tailed deer are to be released into the cell on a weekly basis. See Addendum 1. Access File Server 1563 Containment Addendum _1.txt. In light of Recovery Log 2, any new specimens are to be handled with extreme caution and will be stored in a sealed vivarium at BIOS Containment Site 84. This vivarium is separate from the original vivarium used to store the pink specimen of SCP-1563. Any civilians involved with the capture of a new SCP-1563 specimen are to be given Class C amnestics.